What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Britt, Flynn. Welcome into NFL Week 4's Thursday Night Football preview. We have the Lions and Packers on tonight's slate here. Britt, we're going to break down this game, answer some start-sit questions, and I'm sure everybody is already getting ready and lining up in our chat. If you're not already, go ahead, get in that chat, throw your questions in there. Britt and I are happy to answer them for you, get them ready, whether it be DFS Showdown, start-sit for seasonal, you name it. We're here to cover. You got any betting questions? Britt and I happy to help you with that today as well. Britt, how are we doing?
I'm good. I'm excited that Green Bay's offense is finally coming together. It's like week 4, and we haven't seen their entire offense on the field at one single time. And now we're finally going to get to see it and figure out how this offense is actually supposed to work. So I'm pretty stoked.
I mean, listen, getting Christian Watson back, he's somebody that I had taken in a couple of drafts this year. And then kind of obviously annoyed that basically as soon as those drafts occurred, he pulls up with a hamstring injury, and then now he hasn't played for the first 3 weeks of the season. This is something that obviously bothered him last year as well. He was dealing with some soft tissue injuries. So, sometimes these players have to deal with that. Hopefully, this is the first of many right steps forward here. There's some expectations he could be on a limited snap share tonight as his first game back. So that's something to watch. And we continue to see maybe the development of Reed and Doubs in this offense here and how Jordan Love has played so far this season going up against the Detroit team that's really had some breakout plays in their own. Sam Laporte has been as advertised when it comes to tight end breakout. We've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown continue his success. We have David Montgomery back tonight. So a lot of big stories to look at for a game on tonight's slate.
Yeah, I think everybody's so excited about the emergence of Sam Laporta that Amon-Ra St. Brown has kind of flown under the radar, if that's even possible, because he's put together 2 really good back-to-back games, and all everybody's talking about is Laporta. And on that same note, Luke Musgrave has done fairly well too. I know that that's been in the absence of Christian Watson and with Romeo Doubs on a snap count, but he's, again, a rookie tight end who's not supposed to do anything, and he's looked pretty good as well. So I'm sure that there will be lots of showdown lineups in DFS with double tight ends stacked within them.
Yeah, for sure. Tonight's showdown slate has been quite interesting because, it's a slate that has obviously some like good players in it, but you don't really have those like automatic go-to stars. Now, obviously, Jair Alexander being ruled out probably puts a lot more focus on Amon-Ra St. Brown here this evening. I think you'll see a lot, not that he wasn't going to be a highly rostered player anyways, but, you always worry about those elite cornerbacks and how everybody's going to be building their lineups, and maybe there was a contrarian option to go against him here today, but you got to figure St. Brown's now going to feast, knowing that he's going to have some secondary coverage in here. And got a lot of people starting to pop in the chat. Love seeing everything. All of you get involved in here today. Michelle was first in there before we even got going with her question. Brandon's in here. Tommy getting the game, and Dunn, Dan, Merzilla, Shady, and JRJ all here to come in with us. And we're going to answer your questions. So you don't have to ask them twice. I promise you, Britt and I will go through the queue and get everybody answered here this evening and get you involved and get you guys ready and set for NFL Week 4 and your fantasy football Week 4. I know last week I called it the scary Week 3s, right? Or people wondering they're 0-2s. Well, maybe they've gotten back to even and they're on their way up, but they're looking for more help to get and right the ship here, Britt. And that's what we're here to do today.
Yeah, I'm so ready. And this is very pivotal because a lot of teams, I think that I might have one team that is 0-3, and it gets to this point and you're like, okay, I think I saw a meme on Twitter. How do I dig myself out of it? And it's like, you're not going to dig yourself out of 0-3. So tonight is very moves, important.
Right? That's basically all it's about. And sometimes not panic either. Sometimes you're going to look at the team and think about the reasons you've lost. Did you run up to Tyreek Hill in week 1, or did you run to Tyreek Hill in 2 in week 3? There's definitely different reasons for why your team's maybe losing. I got an 0-3 team, had Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins. What am I supposed to do? Right? Like, it's
exactly
over. It's just sometimes the way they roll here. We do see some BettorCast questions in the chat, so now's a good time to go ahead and tell everybody to go and check out the BettorCast app right now. We have pregame questions already loaded. You can scan the QR code here on the screen. Download the free BettorCast app. Give yourself an opportunity to win some cool prizes like autographed jerseys and memorabilia. It's free to download, free to play. Sign up and check it out here tonight. You can get in chat, watch the game with myself, Britt, Flinn, Andrew Cooper, Howard Bender, and everybody tonight on this Thursday night football game. Answer the questions, answer the pregame questions that go on during the game, and get yourself some points and earn some tickets to redeem for some pretty cool gear. So scan the QR code again on the screen, download the BettorCast app today. All right, Britt, we got questions flowing in here, so we won't hold it up any longer. Let's get to the first one on the board. Michelle here. Roll with Moss, Ford, and Kyron Williams, or do you play Aaron Jones and or Kamara this week? I'm guessing are you looking for one, Michelle? Do you need to replace one of the three? It seems like she's starting two in a flex here. So would you play Jones and Kamara over Moss, Ford, or Kyron here this week?
I will say I've been really impressed with what Moss has done. So I think that I'm going to leave him in there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, Ford, although he scored those 2 touchdowns, his efficiency wasn't very good. And going up against the Bengals, I'm just not, or I'm sorry, the Ravens. Yeah. Gosh, my brain is toasty.
Same division. It's okay.
Yes. I'm like, it's been a long day. Yeah. But going up against them in what is probably going to be a low scoring game, I kind of like Aaron Jones and I like Kamara over Kyron Williams.
You'd play Kamara over Kyron Williams and Aaron Jones over Ford? I could get behind that. I do like Williams for the same reason, just pure volume as Moss. Like he's the only one getting touches in that backfield, and they have Indy, I think, right this week. So it could be a decent matchup for Kyron. But I do like the Aaron Jones call. You can't really run on the Lions defense here, but you can throw against them. And we saw Aaron Jones with that big touchdown catch in week 1 there. So good luck, Michelle, this week. Next question here, we got Brandon, PPR, loaded at wide receiver, but not much at running back. Of the 3, has to start 2, Alexander Mattison, David Montgomery, and Jaylen Warren. Definitely starting David Montgomery tonight against Green Bay. But Britt, what are your thoughts on Alexander Mattison after O'Connell said that Cam Akers will be active this week? And then we have Jaylen Warren, who continues to cut in or look better, or at least the public perception look better than Najee Harris here. Where are you going today?
Yeah, I'm still going to roll with Alexander Mattison. I think that Najee Harris still has a big enough hold on that backfield, and they're going up against the Texans. So Najee should have a great game. I think that leaves Jaylen Warren kind of out in the cold. Mattison, on the other hand, I wrote in my matchup previews over on fantasyalarm.com that the Vikings at Panthers game seems like you're just facing off 2 pieces of roadkill, but there actually is fantasy relevance to be found in this game. And one of those pieces of fantasy relevance is the run game, because Carolina has given up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to the running back position. Mattison is due for a get-right game. Even if they do bring in Cam Akers and sprinkle him in a little bit here and there, I think that Mattison is going to have his finally good game.
Yeah. Mattison turned it on a little bit last week, but obviously now a much better spot for him against Carolina. I've been feasting on those matchups. Last week, Howard and I talked about on the DFS show. We were all in on Kenneth Walker. He was the cover of the playbook, and he went off and had a monster week. So running backs against Carolina are certainly looking like a must start this season for sure. Again, Tommy says, what's up? Ann says, hey. Dan says, loves the show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Those of you who are just jumping in now, we will answer your questions. You don't need to ask them twice. I promise you we're working our way through the queue here. Be shady. Lions have been awful against tight ends. But 100 on Musgrave to score the first touchdown tonight. Sounds crazy, but it's possible. Definitely possible. Kevin Garnett said anything is possible. So, I mean, I would believe that Luke Musgrave scoring the first touchdown tonight can be done against Detroit for sure. JRJ wants to know, is it Looney Tunes to play St. Brown, Gibbs, and Laporta tonight? I don't think so. I mean, listen, start your studs is what we usually say. Laporta is playing better than Waller at this point. You're not going to sit Amon-Ra St. Brown. So the question would be, what do you have at running back, right? If you're going to play Gibbs, what are your alternatives there, Britt, right?
Well, and the thing about Gibbs, everybody's so concerned that David Montgomery's coming back and is going to take away those carries. But Gibbs, even all offseason, we talked about it, how he was going to be used in that passing game. The Packers have allowed over 6.5 receptions to the running back position per game. I think that Gibbs gets it done through those receptions and through the air. So I don't think it's Looney Tunes at all.
No, and he's a big play guy, and you can run on Green Bay. So a guy like Gibbs, all it really takes is one hole, right? Open the hole and let him run through it, and get some big plays out of here. So no, I'm fine playing all 3 of them. Why would you would never sit St. Brown and Laporta at this point. So unless you have a better option for Gibbs, okay to roll them out. I mean, you drafted them, so you're obviously okay with them being on your roster when you took them. So no problems playing them here this evening. Ann said, I've upgraded from Coop. I would agree with you there for sure. BettorCast question already again. Pre-game questions are loaded up over in the BettorCast. We have Christian Watson over under 36.5 yards receiving. Britt, if you had to take a bet on the Christian Watson over under tonight, what are your thoughts?
I would still go over on the yardage. Again, that snap count worries me a little bit, but he is a big play guy. And at any point in time, he can snap off for some long yardage. So I think that he's going to hit that over. Now, if it's a PPR setting and you're relying on him to get a ton of receptions,
Volume, yeah.
not exactly in on that, but the yardage, I can definitely take the over on.
Yeah, they will definitely be taking some shots of Christian Watson. That's just his role on this team, is to be the downfield guy. And here with the first question of the night, Josh Palmer, Elijah Moore, or Romeo Doubs in a PPR league?
This is juicy. This is tough because Palmer did pretty well in the absence of Mike Williams last season. Elijah Moore just cannot get it done. I know that he's got a decently favorable matchup against Baltimore.
He's getting a lot of targets too, but obviously Watson's inefficiencies have hurt him.
Yeah, he just can't get it. They can't make the pieces click.
Yeah.
It's like the Cinderella glass slipper. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make it fit, but it will never fit. That's kind of what I think with Elijah Moore. I think I'm going to go with Palmer here.
Yeah. I'm going to go Palmer against the Raiders. I think that's just a much better matchup for him here. Hopefully he continues to hold off Quentin Johnson. Worked last week. I imagine that will be the spot to go here. Here's a question I didn't think we'd be finding ourselves in. Manuel wants to know, do we go Laporta or Hawk here in a PPR league? Again, Minnesota, I think on the road against Carolina, right? And you have Laporta here on the road against Green Bay.
But first of all, let me congratulate you on your wealth of riches at tight end. You have top two options at tight end in PPR. So congratulations on that, my friend. I think I'm still going with Hawkinson. Again, Carolina's been pretty tough against wide receivers, not so much against the run. And they've actually given up the 11th most points to the tight end position. And they haven't really played a bunch of good tight ends. I think that since they are so tough against the wide receiver, that Kirk Cousins checks it down a little bit more to those short and intermediate spots on the field for Hawkinson.
Yeah, definitely tough to judge defensive rankings really against the tight end position because there's only so many teams that have tight ends that they actually like involve in their passing offense here. But there's still a good amount of volume that tends to find Hawkinson. So I don't mind that at all. Both teams kind of sit in the middle of defensive numbers against tight ends as well, like you mentioned there. So I'm fine rolling with Hawkinson. That offense is definitely more high-powered. A lot more passing offense comes from that side. So go Hawk here tonight. Brian wants to know, need two between Connor, Montgomery, and Moss. I think we're both in agreement. You're plugging in Moss and not looking back. How are you feeling about Connor this week against the 49ers or Montgomery tonight against the Packers?
Yeah, I think I'm still going with Montgomery. James Conner, everybody's looking at him after that performance against Dallas, but San Francisco's defense is not the same as Dallas's defense. All of those runs that Conner got huge yardage on went to the outside. San Francisco has their boundary completely contained. So I really like Montgomery a lot more than Conner.
I'm full in agreement with you here. I'm pretty heavy on some Montgomery props here tonight as well. I took him to score a touchdown, took over his yard. So I think he gets plugged right back in and runs against this Packers defense that struggles against the run here. Let's see. Michelle said, two flex and RB. So we had that one right. Merzilla, high full PPR. Watson worth trying to play over Jacoby Myers or Ramondre Stevenson this week. Where are you? Jacoby Myers has been outstanding in the two games that he has played this year.
And I understand the hesitancy on playing anybody from the Raiders with the uncertainty surrounding Jimmy Garoppolo, but Brian Hoyer also spent a very long time in that Patriots offense. He knows that system. I don't think he's as bad as maybe even some of the starters who are starting right now. So I think that Jacoby Myers is probably, especially in a PPR setting, you're going to get a lot more points out of him. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is going to do fine, but I think that game's going to be really, really low scoring.
Yeah, you have the Zeke revenge return game as well. The narrative there. Yeah, I'm not gonna play Christian Watson tonight either. Jacoby Myers. We talk a lot about the Josh McDaniels offensive system here and this year, and Coop pointed it out in a snap counts article and on the Quick Out show that we did on Wednesday. The Raiders offense is running 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers, and the 2 tight ends are basically being kept in the block. They're not running many routes, and it's a 2-man wide receiver show with Devontae Adams on the outside and Jacoby Myers running up the middle and underneath. And there's a reason you see all those targets and the success slot receivers have had in the Patriots offense, and the Josh McDaniels offense for decades at this point. And Myers is continuing that. So Jacoby and Ramondre for me here. Hopefully Watson gets through this one healthy and you can play him next week. I think that's fine. Paul wants to know Waller or Laporta tonight.
I think I'm still rolling with Laporta. Until I see something more from Waller. I know he's still a top 10 tight end, but it's not been great as far as tight ends go. Laporta offers a ton more upside.
Yeah. Dan saying he's feeling the over on a lot of these matchups. We had a 45.5 game total here tonight. What are your thoughts on this one? Sometimes these Thursday night games are a little sloppy, not as high scoring because they're just coming off of the Sunday game and now they have a short week. But how are you feeling about this one here tonight, Britt?
Yeah, Howard Bender and Andrew Cooper were talking about it in the on the Fantasy Alarm Show, how the over-under started out at 46, but it had been driven down to like the low 40s. I still think, depending on where you get it, I think driving it down was the correct move. It depends on where your line is set right now. I would not go over 46. I would go over the 42.
Yeah, I DraftKings Sportsbook right now showing at 45, so it's certainly on the move. That's what happens too, right? You have the big bettors bet it down, and then once it gets to a point, they bet it right back up. Yep. So listen, I have some overs again. I have a same game parlay. I love those no sweat bets there, Britt. They give you the free money, so I got a little same game parlay, just basically waterfalling all these totals going up and over. So maybe I'll be a little bit richer here at the end of the night on some of those overs. Jay wants to know, start sit, 12-team, 1-point PPR, and a super flex, 3 QBs looking to start 2. Love, Burrow, or Daniel Jones this week? We'll get to those wide receiver questions in a moment. Let's tackle the quarterback one here first, Brett.
I think first you have to start Love.
Yeah,
he's been objectively better than either of the last two.
Who would have thought, right?
Who would have thought this? And again, this is the
Corey's been talking about Love since for 3 months now. So
yes, exactly. Burrow, I don't know.
It is such a good spot for Joe Burrow. I wrote him up in the quarterback coach for the DFS article this week because I want to will him into a good performance. Right. Because the Tennessee, I was all in on Watson and Amari Cooper last week because of that matchup against Tennessee. Anybody that goes against Tennessee is going to have success throwing the football. I am just begging Joe Burrow to be that guy this week. I almost feel like you have to take the shot, though.
I feel like you have to, but the only thing is that we haven't heard anything on if he's good to go. Right. How's that calf progressing? They're being super secretive about it. And if you watched him on Monday night, he just looked out of it. In the face, he looked out of it. And so it just really worries me and getting that chemistry. But like you said, I think if there ever were a bounce back game, that this is it. So I think you have to go Burrow and just take that chance.
Yeah, no Aaron Donald rushing the passer this time, so that might help Burrow out a little bit, feel a little bit at ease, knowing that he doesn't have that barreling down him at any point in time there. Next question we got. We had his wide receiver question here. So we're gonna go Love and Burrow here, Jay, and then need to start 3 of Waddle, Higgins, Dubs, Palmer, Thielen, and Kirk here. I was all in on Thielen until Bryce Young was back at QB. I don't know if that's fair because Thielen obviously had a good game with Young the week prior, but I liked it a lot more. I felt like with Dalton. How are you feeling about these wide receivers here?
I was in on Thielen even regardless about Bryce Young, but then he popped up on the injury report today. And I don't know if it was a rest situation or if there's some
day off,
It typically is, but it made me a little wary.
Sure.
I'm still going with him unless I hear otherwise that there is actually an injury, because I don't know if you guys heard. This is NFL Revenge Week.
Yes.
Trademarked official. There are so many revenge matchups happening this week. And Thielen is one of my favorites because both of these defenses are just kind of So
Yeah.
I really like Thielen. I think Waddle, honestly, with all the problems that Buffalo's having in their secondary, Tre'Davious White and both their safeties are questionable to go in there. And this game has the highest over-under of the week by far. I think just by volume alone that Waddle's going to get his.
Yeah, I'm with Waddle, and again, Thielen, I can definitely be talked into because he's one of my favorites to start the week. If you had to pick one between Higgins, Doubs, Palmer, and Kirk, how do you close out the trio here?
Let's see.
I kind of want to go, I think, Higgins just because of that matchup against Tennessee.
Yeah.
But it's been all or nothing for Higgins. He had the monster week 2. He's had done nothing in weeks 1 and week 3. Palmer might be the safest of the group. So if you want like a high floor player, Josh Palmer against the Raiders could certainly be that.
And I also like Kirk too, because Zay Jones is trending towards doubtful.
Sure.
So that's why it's really hard. It depends on what you want. Do you want safety? Do you want high upside? And that's what makes it a little difficult to answer this question. But I think I'm going to roll with Palmer.
Yeah, I think Palmer works for me as there as well. You got some nice plays there already. Take the high floor with Palmer there. Monty or Gibbs, we got to pick one or the other. I'm going to go Montgomery here.
See, I'm going to go Gibbs. I think the passing and the amount of receptions that Green Bay has given up to the running back is going to really benefit Gibbs tonight.
I have a lot of Gibbs shares, so I hope that's the case. I think Monty scores the touchdowns here. So sorry we couldn't be helpful.
Right.
If you're not in our Fantasy Alarm Discord, though, get in there, ask that question. Maybe someone else in the Fantasy Alarm family can help you out or flip a coin. I don't think you're going to be wrong on that selection. I think you did a pretty good job grabbing both this week here. Merzilla wants to know Watson or Geno Smith this week. Geno's in New York, right? Is that the matchup against the Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have Watson. Is they at home against Baltimore?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not great. I don't like that Geno's on the road because he's got to go west. He's going west to east.
Yeah, I'm leaning Watson here, but again, as good as the Browns defense has been, I don't know how much they're necessarily going to throw or just manage the clock. But the Ravens do have a bunch of pieces missing in their secondary and their defense as a whole. So that could be finally the Deshaun Watson breakout game.
Yeah, listen, again, he had a good week last week. I don't think they're going to run the ball much success again this week either. So yeah, let's lean Watson here. Obviously, the Giants defense has if you own them in fantasy, they've lost points each of the first 3 weeks of the season. So they're not really stopping much there either. Nick wants to know start 3: Henry, Swift, Madison, Pierce, or Ford. Britt, I had a question in our Discord earlier this week where I sat Henry. It was Moss, Kyron Williams, Javonte Williams, or Derrick Henry needed to sit one. And I was looking at the matchups, and Javonte was obviously the toss-up. I put it on Twitter. It was really close. They ended up leaning. The Twitter majority lent to sitting Javonte Williams, but it was only a few percentage points below Derrick Henry. But where are you on this point? You can't sit Swift at this point, right? Like, far too effective. But the rest of this crew here, Henry, Madison, Pearson, Ford, you got to start 2.
I think that I'm starting Henry.
Yeah.
I still am. And honestly, I think I'm starting Madison. I'm still leaning towards that really poor matchup with the Carolina defense. I mean, plus matchup for him, but poor defense on Carolina's part. Pierce, even in good game script situations, has not produced. He hasn't really done anything at all. And I mean, the running game as a whole.
Yeah, they have a terrible offensive line.
It's terrible. And then with Ford, again, the weakness in Baltimore's defense has been in that secondary so far and not along their defensive line. So, I don't like Henry, especially after last week's, -7 yards of contact.
Yeah.
But I think here you've got to go with him.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'm leaning to. Again, it's not like a great spot to run against. And, I'm just hopeful he gets one of those 90-yarders, right? And kind of saves some fantasy managers here. Ann wants to know, need to sit one in a PPR, Algier, Pierce, or Dubs? Already starting Bijan. Not a great spot to run the ball for Atlanta. They have Jacksonville and they're on the road, but we just talked. Listen, you can run a little bit against Pittsburgh, but again, it's not great. Not a great spot.
And Algier got a decent amount of work last week,
Yeah.
even in a negative game script situation. So I still think that I'm going to sit Pierce.
Yeah, I'm going to sit Pierce too until he shows me something here. Another Pierce question: Montgomery or Pierce? This one's easier though. Play Montgomery.
Yep, agreed.
Monty did nothing to show you he shouldn't be played other than just missing a week. So, Palmer, Madison, or A Chain need 2 in a PPR. First Devin A Chain question of the week.
Yeah, look, Buffalo's defense is really tough against the run. They're one of the top defenses against the run. I know that A-Chain had, stole the hearts of America last week, but I just don't know if that's going to happen again this week. I'm going to go Palmer and Madison.
Yeah, I'm going to go Palmer and Madison here again. Listen, love that you have him. I have him in some leagues too. He's obviously on my bench. And you see those 50 fantasy points in your bench, you're like, gut kick, right? But unlikely he goes for like 204 scores or something like that. Like
yeah,
scores, something crazy. And great player. We're excited for what his future could hold here, but not the matchup for me here. We got question for tonight's game. Would you start Watson, MT, Higgins? So Michael Thomas, Watson, or Higgins in a PPR for this one?
Oh, I mean, I think I'm going to go Higgins here. I think, like you said, he's been boomer bust against this Titans defense, that he's in a really good spot. Michael Thomas with Jameis Winston in there, I just don't know about it.
That's a wild card for sure. Going up against Tampa, we saw Tampa struggle to defend against the Eagles last week. AJ Brown had a really big game, but I'd probably go Higgins here. Again, anybody can go throw against Tennessee, so I'm just going to trust that they protect Burrow and he has enough time in the pocket to make some throws here. Other pregame question for BettorCast here: Luke Musgrave over 38.5 receiving yards. Where do you think here?
We're going over again. We are definitely going over. Green Bay with Devondre Campbell out, with Jair Alexander out. I mean, I think that Musgrave is set up, or I'm sorry, I'm so backwards tonight. But they have Detroit is number 2 in fantasy points allowed to the tight end.
Yeah.
I really think that Musgrave is going to get that touchdown. Whoever it was back a few minutes ago who bet that $100 on Musgrave to have his first touchdown, I love that for you, because I think he's going to have a huge game.
I'm with you there. I think Musgrave goes over this one here tonight again. The focus on the wide receivers. Tony here, start, sit, 12-team PPR. Woods, Doves, Bourne, or Reynolds needs 1.
I'm going to go Dubs. I think with Watson on a snap count, that Dubs is going to have a lot more work tonight.
I like that. I'm not playing Josh Reynolds anywhere this week, and I feel like that's probably going to sting me because I do have him on a lot of lineups, because I picked him up 2 weeks ago for his 2-touchdown game. Played him last week. He ran 77% of the offensive snaps and got 0 targets. No Jair Alexander. I feel like he's going to get some looks here tonight, but I think I go Dubs over him this evening here. Mm-hmm. James here's waffling, Love or Burrow this week. That's the big question, it feels like. Risk aversion. Love is a safer play. Good spot for him, 100%. Burrow has the best matchup by far on the board of anybody probably on the slate.
Yep. I agree completely with you. Again, it goes back to, do you want that safe floor or do you want that ceiling? Mm-hmm. And how much are you willing to risk on the biscuit?
And I hate saying this, like, what does your projection say? But like, who are you playing? What's their team look like? Are you in a pretty good spot where you're confident that you can beat them? If you are, go Love, be safe. If you think you need to catch up in points, like, Burrow's got the ceiling for you here. So I think that's the spot here. Better wants to know, do you start Coop or the GM here this week? Coop with you this week and tomorrow, today and tomorrow. So I guess you're starting Coop.
And on Sunday. So
and
3 out of 4 days.
Get Tommy saying take the under on the first half. That's not a bad approach here. Ann wants to know Russ or Watson. Or Tua. Oh wait. Russ or Watson, and then Russ or Tua. Definitely Tua.
Yeah, I'm going Tua here.
I'm going Russell Wilson, I think. I got Russell Wilson to cover my QB coach this week. So
yeah, I think, again, this matchup seems like a couple of pieces of roadkill matched up against each other. The other 2 0-4 teams that are matching up, but their defenses are so bad that it's going to be sloppy, but there are going to be points that get scored. So I think I'm actually going to lean Russ.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Russell Wilson over Watson. I'll still go Tua over Wilson there, though, in that one, though.
Yep.
James wants to know Madison or Sanders in a PPR.
I think I'm going to go Sanders. That Vikings defense is so putrid.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
We just saw Swift not even try to run over them, so they did with ease.
And two other linebackers are questionable as well. So
yeah. Henry or Njoku and a half PPR.
I'm going to go Henry. I don't like it. I think that both of these games are going to be very low scoring, but Henry has been the guy with the bigger target share with the higher upside.
I agree with you. Charles here, how is it? I've never had 5 right players. I'm with you. I've never had the 5 right for Showdown either here. Matt wants to know Green Bay or Love or Dimes here. What are we thinking?
I think I'm still going Love.
Yeah.
I know that Seattle's offense is horrible, but the New York Giants offensive line is just a hodgepodge, and nobody knows if they're even going to play. And they've just been beat up like around the playground all year long.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. Listen, I was bullish on Daniel Jones. I hope he eventually comes around, but play Jalen Hyatt more. Let's see if we can get some more explosive players on that offense. They'll get Saquon Barkley back, maybe this week or next week, and maybe that offense will pick up a little bit more steam. Next pregame BettorCast question. I'm on Ross St. Brown over under the 71.5. I'm going to go over now that Jair Alexander's out. I think that one feels pretty good here.
Yep.
Another interesting tight end question. Who would have thought at the beginning of the year? Laporta or Andrews?
Oh, this is so tough. This depends on if you subscribe to the mantra of start your studs or if you are playing matchups.
Right.
Me personally, I like to play matchups. And tonight, that's Laporta for me.
Yeah, I think Laporta is where I'm going to go. Again, I really like the Cleveland defense. I took them in a couple of leagues, and I've been playing them in DFS. They've been pretty solid here. Dan wants to know what to do with Reynolds if he has another bad day. Would you drop him with Williams coming back? Listen, if Josh Reynolds is going to play 80% of the offensive snaps, he's going to have a home on a fantasy roster for me because he's on the field. I would be stunned to see him get 0 targets again. I think what happened last week was that maybe he wasn't fully healthy. He was on the injury report all week, was active for Sunday. He was out there. They just, maybe he wasn't able to move around enough to get enough separation, get open. If that happens again tonight, but he plays 80% of the snaps, it's hard to ignore a guy that is at least on the field that much. So, but yeah, Williams back in week 6 will certainly probably reshuffle. I wonder if Marvin Jones probably loses his job over for Williams, not necessarily Josh Reynolds, because Jones is look pretty washed at this point here.
Dusty.
Ann wants to know Akers or Melvin Gordon. Oh, you play Cam Akers this week, right?
Yeah, I think you have to. Justice Hill's back. Gus Edwards is back. I don't think that Melvin has any role whatsoever.
Yeah, you got to go Akers here. Steve wants to know James Cook or Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Cook a lot this week.
I do too, and this is so hard because I've been such a Gibbs truther this entire time. But I think that in order to keep the time of possession in their favor, that the Bills are going to run a lot more. And Cook has looked very, very good so far this season. So I'm leaning Cook.
And he catches the football in the backfield too. Like he's become a full player. I've talked a lot about this. Last year, I took a lot of Devin Singletary where he was going in redraft leagues. I wanted to draft a lot of Cook this year, but where he was going was much earlier than where Singletary was going last year. So he kind of had to pay a little bit more of a premium. So I only have him in like a league or two. Wish I got a lot more exposure to Cook because he is the player that I figured he was going to be here. Coop in the chat. What's up, Coop? Full PPR flex, Hopkins or Rachaad White. Tampa's got the Saints, which is never a great spot to run the football. But Hopkins, again, landed on the injury report now. That could have been his Thursday veteran day off. That happens to him often here. But, I mean, Tennessee is not really throwing the football either. So
no. Ew, Coop. Ew. I think I'm still going to go with Rachaad White, and this is why. It's because the Saints do have a little crack in their armor. They're allowing 4.5 rush yards per attempt and 5 running back receptions per game. If Rachaad White is that guy, Marshawn Lattimore is going to be on Mike Evans, so he's basically going to be a non-factor. I think Baker is going to be forced to dink and dunk down to Rachaad White and Chris Godwin. It's not going to be pretty either way, I don't think, but I like his upside a little bit more than Hopkins.
It's a big week for me and Cooper facing each other in our friends league. So that wasn't a question that would impact our matchup. So I didn't interrupt any additional assistance that he was getting there. Alan Chat wants to know who's your GPP captain on DraftKings tonight. I got a couple of lineups built. I have David Montgomery in as one captain. I did throw Reynolds in as a captain just in case he goes off and has that double touchdown spot. So two things I like there. I also think I haven't used him as a kicker, but what are your captain rather, but the buried lead there? What are your thoughts on kickers in Showdown here tonight? I wonder if maybe the Green Bay offense stalls out a little bit here against the Detroit defense. We've talked about the inefficiencies for Love, completing less than 60% of his passes, and he can't really run on Detroit. So maybe they move the ball and then stall out, and you got some field goal attempts here for Green Bay tonight.
Yeah, I just think that ceiling is so limited, and with the captain, you want a higher ceiling since you're getting that multiplier. So I actually have Luke Musgrave kind of flip-flopped over Laporta because I know that Laporta is going to be that chalk in the captain spot. And so I'm doing a little contrarian. I still have Laporta in my lineup, but really liking Musgrave this evening.
Yeah, I like going sometimes cheap captains because then it just lets you stack the rest of your flex builds there. But I like that. I have obviously some Raymond and some lineup builds here tonight as well. Just trying to get some exposure there. But it'll end up being like the third tight end somewhere that scores the touchdown, or Craig Ferguson will come in and score the rushing touchdown and blow up everybody's teams here.
And infuriate us all.
Yeah, exactly. Last week I sent out the tweet of like the touchdowns that were scored. It's like Josh Oliver, Pharaoh Brown, like who nobody played these guys. What are we doing? Mostert or Aaron Jones this week for Tony?
Again, I'm going to go Aaron Jones. That Buffalo run defense is just really, really good. And I think it's going to be very high scoring through the air. I don't think Mostert or Achane get nearly as much work as they did last week. So I'm going Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Jones is fine for me. Again, it's tough to run against Detroit, but she should get the passing work there for sure. Again, I think I don't know if this is the same person or just the same question, but Laporta or Andrews here. I think we went Laporta.
Yeah.
Spot. So
yeah,
again,
it's crazy.
Weird to sit Andrews. Can you start them both? Like, what do you have for a flex? It's not a great spot for Andrews against the Browns, but yeah, we're definitely in on Laporta here. Super Dave wants to know Gibbs, Montgomery, Watson, or Nico. I'm guessing this is a flex question here.
Oh, so the thing about Nico, and I just have to say this, he should be removed from this question because with the emergence of Tank Dell, he and John Mechie, I'm meaning Collins and John Mechie, are the ones rotating in and out of the snaps. Tank Dell and Robert Woods are the guys that are out there full time. So if you're relying on snaps, Nico should not be a part of this. Now it becomes a little bit more of, I wish I knew if this was standard or PPR as well. I'm just going to assume PPR. I think I'm going to go Gibbs again. I know that you like Montgomery, thinking that he's going to score that touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't think that Watson gets the volume on that snap count. He's going to get some yardage, but it's not going to be great. I'm really looking for Detroit to check down all night long to Gibbs.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, you're right. I do left it. I would probably lean Montgomery, but I think both running backs here are going to have some success here, Super Dave. So Britt made a lot of great points. And the reason we were both very high on Gibbs becoming the year was all that passing down work. So if they're susceptible to that, Gibbs should have a pretty good night tonight. Quentin Johnson here or Shaheed for a flex spot for Julie?
Oh, see, this is tough too because Shaheed has made his presence known. But again, you've got Jameis Winston, most likely going to start at quarterback, and he is such a wild card.
Yeah,
and
he does like to throw downfield though. So.
He does, but that's where I feel like Chris Olave is going to be the dude. I mean, I think Olave is just going to absolutely feast like a never-ending buffet at Caesars this week. Johnston, go Johnston.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily
move into the Josh Palmer role, but there's no longer like that ceiling of like it's clearly Williams and Allen. Like there's a good chance that if Johnson makes a few plays, they'll move him above Palmer in the offense. So right. I'd rather take the shot there. I agree with you. We got a trade question here. Should I accept this trade? Musgrave, Flowers, and Addison for Laporta and Hopkins. Are you receiving Musgrave, Flowers, and Addison for Laporta and Hopkins, I would do that. Hopkins is a 0, right? So
Yep.
I would 100% do that.
I think so too. I think you sell that Laporta high, shiny new toy rookie fever. And then after Musgrave gets his touchdown tonight, then along with Flowers and Addison, you're going to be rolling in money.
I mean, you're getting Flowers and Addison for free. Hopkins is barely startable at this point. So
right.
Take that and run and do it quick before the owner wakes up from, whatever hangover they're in. Steve wants to know Fields or Love. I mean, geez, I didn't think this was going to be a question to be in week 4, but here we are.
Yeah. I mean, again, it depends on what you're chasing, right? Do you want the safe floor? Do you want the upside? I have Justin Fields doing very well this week. Again, just because it's going to be a sloppy slugfest. There's not going to be any defense played on either side. And I think that Fields can score a little bit more. I'm going to go Fields for the upside. But again, like John mentioned earlier, if you're looking at your projections and you're very close, I would stick with the safe floor and Love.
Yeah, I mean, can they get Fields in some motion here? Can they let him run a little bit more, let him roll out? Like his ability to be successful is his ability to run the football and prolong plays and let receivers get open. We're just not seeing that here. Coop said he's going to play White against me this week. That's fine. We got HN or Dubs for a flex play here.
I'm going to go Dubs. Still, again, like we mentioned, Buffalo's run defense really tough. I think this game goes through the air on Miami's side. And HN is not going to see nearly as much work as he did last week. So give me Dubs.
Yep. We got another BettorCast pregame question here. Jahmyr Gibbs, over under 57.5 rushing.
So I'm going to go under the rushing, but check back later for the receiving.
Yeah, I think under rushing here as well. Unless he's going to have to break one. I don't know if he gets enough volume of carries to get 57.5. He probably settles in around that 6 or 7 carry mark. So I mean, he's certainly capable of it, but I'd bet the under on that one as well. Then he's another pregame question here. Who wins?
I'm going Packers.
Packers at home, huh? It's close. They're just missing so many pieces. It feels like to me. I'm gonna go Lions. We'll go opposite here, Britt. Sorry, guys. Can't lean. Can't give you guys the advice you guys need there.
But Jared Goff is so bad on the road and outside historically. Like
we got more pieces to the puzzle here. Always give us the full scope of the deal. All right, so we got Musgrave, Flowers, and Addison for Laporta, Kirk, and Quentin Johnson. Makes a lot more sense that wasn't a 3-for-1 than a 3-for-3. I don't think it changes anything for me, though. I still really, really like Flowers and Addison here. So what are your thoughts here, Britt?
Yeah, it feels a bit lateral on its face, but I think the upside that you've got down at the end of the season leans more towards Musgrave, Flowers, and Addison.
Yeah, I'm with you there again. Like you're hoping Quentin Johnson can become what Flowers and Addison already are, right? And then who knows what happens when Zay Jones gets back for Jacksonville? What that does to Christian Kirk. So unless Sam Laporta becomes top 3 tight end this year, which he's almost trending that way. You're really making out on that deal in my opinion. So still going to do it. Better Boss says he's rolling with the Lions defense with confidence.
Oh.
Never one for the bold take is Better Boss. I would say that is interesting. They are favorites, so you have that. Are they dogs? They're favorites tonight, right?
They're favorites now. I think it's moved up to -2
on the money line, 2.5.
Oh, it's gone up to 2.5. Yeah, I just don't. I think it's going to be a lot closer than
defense. So, like, if they can keep the points down, can they turn over Love? Is the question. If they can turn over Love, Packers have some issues on their offensive line. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's there, could cause some havoc in the backfield. So, it's not inconceivable the Lions defense plays. I don't think anyone's playing either defense in DFS tonight, though. So, you'll probably have some low rostered showdown exposure there here. And then Ann wants to know Ertz or Kincaid.
Oh, man. Kincaid actually has a really good matchup this week. He really, really does. I know he hasn't done a lot throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. I just feel it in my gut that this is going to be his breakout. I really, really do.
I
Um,
have
I
definitely have some shares. Ertz is just in too tough of a spot for me against
right.
San Francisco. So run Kincaid. Hope he gets some more targets and they don't go to Dawson Knox and we'll be partying. Brees Hall or Josh Palmer in a PPR. I'm gonna go Palmer in this one here.
Yeah, Palmer, Brees, you just can't trust with both that offensive line and whatever craziness they've got going on in the locker room.
Yep, I'm with you there. Now says bold, better boss. Yeah, that's basically triple B's, right? Lawrence, our Colin, Matt here in chat with his bold better boss take. So no Bears playing tonight, so we can't get the Justin Fields propaganda in chat, but that's fine. Guys, if you have any other questions for us here this evening, feel free to throw them out. I know we do have the official inactives. Why don't we throw some inactives here up here? Let everybody see it for the Lions. We have Kirby, Joseph, Manuel Mosley. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that offensive lineman's name. You want to give it a go, Britt? You think you got it?
No. Okay. I would no.
Donovan Knight, Jason Kabinda, and Broderick Martin there for the Lions, inactive here. Then for the Packers, obviously Jair Alexander is the big name there. Malik Heath, Anthony Johnson, Zane Anderson, Brenton Cox, Devondre Campbell, and Elton Jenkins all out there. And then David Bakhtiari went on season-ending IR there to have surgery on his knee. So
Was it season ending?
yeah, they just came out now. Season-ending injury to have
Oh
surgery. So,
no. When I was putting my makeup on, I just heard it was for at least 4 weeks.
yeah, no,
Oh, that's
just
sad.
like I'll tell you when the update came through here. I got these Adam Schefter push notifications turned on. It was, let's see here. When did he tweet it out?
Oof.
It was here somewhere. I got it. I got all these notifications everywhere, but they said it was a season-ending surgery. So we'll see if
That's
we can
so
get official
unfortunate.
confirmation on that one here. So yeah, Bakhtiari put on IR. So we'll see. Recovery
Yeah.
from his left torn ACL after last year, and they just put him on the IR for the knee again. So
That could be like career ending. If
yeah,
you had a setback with whatever surgery he had last season, that does not sound good at all.
no, definitely not. Rob T wants to know Stevenson, Aaron Jones, leaning towards Aaron Jones this week.
Yep, I think that your lean is right. I think that that Cowboys Patriots game is going to be real low scoring. And it could even be Zeke. I know we haven't been impressed with Zeke, but again,
Last week he was pretty good.
if you are just joining us, it is official NFL revenge week.
Yeah. Last week Zeke actually looked pretty good, average over 5 yards carry. So I had my wrong NFL reporter push notification. It was Ian Rappaport that had it. Season-ending
Okay.
injury reserve. He's going to have the knee again scoped out, and have with the hope that he'll be ready to go for the 2024 season there. So
Ooh,
yeah,
mama.
tough look there. Take a look at some of the betting lines as we talked about. We got the weekly great NFL Blitz graphic here. Lions and Packers. Lions -2, Packers +2, over under 45.5 here over on FanDuel. Britt, if you had to take a side of the line, where are we going?
I mean, I'm going to go Packers +2. I think that they're just more complete, even with their injuries that they have. I think that their next man up is going to get the job done.
We go over under on this total, 45.5.
I'm going to go slightly under. I have it set at 44. It does not make me very comfortable either way.
Yeah, I would agree with you here. I think I'm going to go on the under as well, though I do have a lot of over yardage, so I need them to get yards and then have drive stall out, I guess, here. So can't have any big plays. That's what killed me last week when I had the underdog fantasy pick'em plays. I had the Stroud over attempts, and the kick return for a touchdown by the fullback didn't do me any favors, and then they had the long tanked out touchdown, taking away basically 2 full possessions to get 4 more pass attempts from Stroud there to go 5 for 5 for the second straight week. Would have been looking pretty good there. Dan's got a question here. Wants to know Javonte Williams or James Conner in a PPR.
Yeah, I'm going Javonte. I know Javonte hasn't shown a lot, but again, in this really, really poor defensive matchup against the Bears, I think that he's finally going to show out. James Conner, it's just too tough against the 49ers.
Yeah, I agree with you here as well. It's really just not a good matchup. As good as he has been in terms of like overall volume this year, eventually Javonte Williams, I think, is going to break out and play more than the 50% snap share. We've seen 50% the first 3 weeks of the year. The Bears defense feels like it presents a really good opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of that. We got about a couple minutes left in the show here, but let's build a showdown lineup for the friends at home here. We got one more question for man, then we'll break down the DFS showdown lineup here. We have Scott Fishbowl 13, Zeke McKinnon, Burks, and McPherson. What are you thinking?
Not Burks. He didn't practice again today, which really hurts my soul. McKinnon actually might be put in like a little bit of a decent situation because the Jets do give up passes to the running back, but I think they're just going to blow him out, that it's not going to matter. I'm going to go Zeke and McPherson.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Listen, you can play kickers in Scott Fishbowl. That's what they've learned. I've been playing, I think I played 2 kickers last week in Scott Fishbowl. So, Zeke and McPherson for me here as well. So, all right, let's get a lineup going here for the folks at home. A little DraftKings Showdown Slate. Let's see, I'll blow this page up a little bit so people can see the board. All right, Britt, we talked about it. We've had a couple of different builds, you and I. Tell me about how you want to, what's your go-to captain? You said Musgrave, right?
Yeah, I really do love Musgrave. I know everybody's going to be on Laporta, and he might even be a little bit cheaper, but I just love him. I really think that Musgrave is going to be the guy.
Okay, I'm in agreement with you. I think we have to get St. Brown in here now that there's no Jair Alexander, so that gives us $7,200 here. I was also very in on Montgomery for me, so got a couple of plays in here. Where do you want to go next?
So let's see. We've still got a decent amount of salary per player.
We do.
I think I'm going to go Jordan Love to kind of complement that Musgrave. And then if he does throw off a long bomb to Christian Watson, we still get some benefits for that. Let's see. The cheaper options aren't great.
Would you go? So you can go Reed or Raymond, or we can go kicker. Because I think we should try and find a way to get Laporta in our lineup here.
Yeah, let's try Laporta and see where that leaves us with a kicker.
We're so
just short a little bit. Oh my gosh!
What do we got to do here? What's the move?
Take out who's more expensive, Gibbs or Montgomery?
Probably Gibbs.
Gibbs. Wow, interesting.
What do we do? I don't want to get rid of St. Brown. I want to leave St. Brown in.
Yeah, totally.
We get rid of the quarterback?
What if we just go naked and don't play either quarterbacks?
Yeah, we could
just go everybody.
$7K per play here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What do we do then? Did you go Dubs then?
Yeah, I think Dubs.
52 gets us Raymond and just kind of roll.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted a kicker. We could go a little weird and leave some money on the board. But
Carlson down here gives us $600. I mean, I'm fine leaving some money on the table.
Yeah, that's not a bad amount left on the table either.
No, not bad at all. So if you guys were playing with some DFS here tonight, give you a little bit of an example lineup breakdown. Obviously, you can go a bunch of different ways. You can get a little bit cheaper at the captain spot if you want, but we do got a couple more questions rolling in here, though. So let's take a peek and get to some of these questions before we roll out. Steve wants to know Waddle or Sutton this week.
Oh gosh. I'm going to go Waddle here, I think, although it's going to be close.
So, I mean, listen, Sutton's look great. It's a Bears, a great spot. But if Waddle's healthy, you want exposure to the 54.5 game total here. So I'm going to go Waddle this week as well. Paul wants to know, do we go Montgomery, Gabe Davis, or Tutu Atwell? He needs 2.
I like Montgomery and Tutu.
Yeah.
Tutu's been getting the targets.
He has definitely been getting targets. Scored at the end of last week.
Almost had 2.
Yeah, I'm in there for sure. And then Sam Collin wants to know Watson or Evans this week.
I've got to go Watson. The Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore situation is never good.
Let's see if we have a betting line on him getting ejected. Do we have any special lines here on Mike Evans?
I've been looking for one because I've been making jokes about it. And I would very much love there to be a line just so I could sprinkle some money on it.
Yeah, some like weekly specials here. Will he get thrown out? of the game. Let's see. Do we have anything? I don't see anything on that for DraftKings here. I am sure somebody will be popping up there for a Mike Evans ejection line here. So, guys, any other questions? Again, feel free to throw them in chat. Download the free BettorCast app. Again, I can't stress this enough. Right here, QR codes on the screen. We've been flashing the pregame questions up throughout the stream here tonight, giving you our answers. You can get those in now. Get points for answering those questions before anybody else can. Once the game starts, those pregame questions go away, and you'll have those points locked in that others that are just joining the stream there tonight, the BettorCast tonight, will not be able to have access to. Get opportunities to earn tickets to win cool prizes, redeemable prizes like signature autographed jerseys and other memorabilia there. Get in the live chat during tonight. I know Howard Bender will be in there. Andrew Cooper will be in there. We'll all be in there watching the game together, reacting live to everything that's going on for this Thursday night football game between the Lions and the Packers here this evening. So again, don't wait today. Scan the QR code, download the BettorCast. It's completely free to play, completely free to sign up. Opportunities to win free prizes. I mean, how can you go wrong, Britt?
You can't. And it's so fun if you're as competitive as I am to look over at your significant other or your friends and be like, what place are you in? I'm beating you. This is great. It's so fun to engage in that app. So yeah, highly recommend. Go download it, have some fun with us, and just chop it up in the chat.
100% there. And then, of course, finishing out our ads for today, we have the All-Pro package, right? You get a 7-day free trial. You can scan the QR code here or go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Become a family member for a week for free. Get access to all of our premium content, including our DFS playbook, our lineup generator, our draft percentage forecaster, our Discord, and then free content for anything else we put out on site for 1 week here. Try us out. Our annual subscription package is 40% off the month-to-month price right now as well. So you can go ahead and basically become a family member for a year for 40% off the monthly cost. And a little bird, he told me the 7-day free trial is going away. So this is could very well be the last week to get a 7-day free trial here. Test us out, try us out. Last week we had a fantastic DFS week in week 3. I know Howard Bender's already got it down and getting ready to be another successful week in week 4 here. So become a member of the family here today. Britt, any final words for those of people tuning in here tonight before we close up the show?
Yeah, I just want everybody to have the best of luck in their matchups. Go check out those weekly matchup previews and join us for our Start Sit show on 9 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Sunday. Britt and I will be here 10 to 11, Coop and Bender on XM. And then you come right back to the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel, myself and Andrew Cooper, 11 to 12, getting you guys ready for all of your Sunday week for action. Good luck, everybody. We'll talk to you all later.